When we talk about community safety and building trust with public, with the community, there's no shortage of literature on community policing, on evidence-based policing, neighborhood policing, and many other models, right? So, but two things stand out across almost all of them, and those two things are the police structures, which are typically flat, with little specialization, particularly on how to engage with the community, right? And then there's often no dedicated interface that works closely and effectively with residents and social service partners at the community level. The CPO, community policing officers, there's probably the lowest level which is constantly assigned to play this role, right? So in this presentation, I want to share with you two things. Number one, introduce the idea of a hybrid matrix structure combined with community engagement process that connects police and service providers and community groups at a level below the level where the CPOs can reach, right? And I want to place those different concepts of policing, like community policing, evidence-based policing, and neighborhood policing in perspective within this model. So this is the model that I'll walk you through, and it illustrates how police services can frame their directorates, their units, and different functions and roles, right, to support that community engagement. The most important and often missing component is the neighborhood level work, the last layer that we have in this model. And this represents community engagement, which is foundational. I'll unpack each of these levels shortly, but let's begin with the why neighborhoods matter, why working with neighborhoods, and why neighborhood level engagement. So research consistently shows that crime concentrates in smaller areas. Back in 1980s, Lawrence Sherman did some groundbreaking work where he revealed that 50% of the calls for service come from 3% of locations in major cities, right? Then in 2015, David Weisberg expanded that finding, showing that about 5% of places account for 50% of the crime. Right? So this tells us that concentrating community safety efforts in vulnerable areas produce results. Right? But it's not only about increasing police patrols. Real impact comes with stronger collaboration with community partners, where police works along social service partners and residents. Secondly, neighborhoods are places where the quality of life issues are concentrated, where local knowledge and networks are underutilized, and where engagement can trigger a self-refueling process of change or renewal. So with this foundation in mind, let's unpack this model layer by layer to see how police services can best align their resources and strategies for long-term community safety. So let's break it down. The model is shown in 5 different layers. It is like a cone structure like this, but I've put it horizontally. So the first 2 layers are the community engagement layer. That's the foundation. This helps us ground the model in the community and helps us achieve the intended results. That's the interface. So think about the spinning top, right? The whole structure balances and moves because of one small point, the tip. And in policing, the tip is the community engagement interface. Civilian social worker mobilizers who connect residents, partners, and police, and they form and support that interface. They set priorities, create action plans, and track progress. That's the most strategic level. If you want your community safety work to be grounded in the community, then you have to have that level. And the police officers, in general, they are not social workers, they're not community mobilizers, and they can go to that level, which I'm going to describe in a minute. Now comes level 2, which is the police neighborhood community police officers and the frontline staff. They're working together side by side with the civilian staff at the interface, at the engagement interface. And their role is to support, to help implement, and to build trust, not to take over. This is now the The third level, which I call the CSWB services support level to the community engagement process, right? So this is interesting. So we have the community engagement process going. We just talked about the different steps within that process, which vary from neighborhood to neighborhood, from community to community. But then we have these units providing support, like for instance, the CSWB, specialized police units. They work with the social service agencies and bring programs, data, and expertise to help communities succeed. Level 4 is the leadership or strategic layer, right? Where units working at the strategy level, working with the police leaders, provide direction, resources, and accountability to keep engagement at the core. Comes level 5, which is the system layer, where partners citywide and provincial partners that include community health centers, school boards, youth serving agencies, municipal CSWB teams, and other partners, including funders, all of them working together, trying to ensure long-term sustainability and support, right? So this layered model doesn't replace hotspot policing, right? Or evidence-based policing or community policing. It actually brings them together, right? Community policing becomes a shared responsibility, right? It's not just the responsibility of the community police officers, right? So it's not just what the CPOs and NRTs are doing at the community level that's considered as community policing. That's not community policing. That's neighborhood policing, right? Community policing is broader. It's about working with partners to make community safety a shared responsibility. It means that identifying priorities in all those 4 levels of intervention, priorities, priority actions, and then related success indicators, right? And that's what the CSWB approach is all about, right? And what's powerful about this model is that it can apply the CSWB principle or those community policing principles both at the system level and at the community level in the community action plans, as well as in the CSWB framework, CSWB plans. Now, the question about the hotspots policing or evidence-based policing and the Ontario engagement and mobilization model, right? So the good news is that all of these concepts are built into this system, right? Into this model. Evidence-based policing relies on research and scientific data to guide police decisions, right? So this is exactly what we should be doing, using community engagement as one of the key tools, right? Hotspots policing is a data-driven method as well that focuses police resources on areas with high concentration of crime to deter crime and to reduce offending, right? So the community engagement process that we are discussing here is based on this particular approach. However, instead of relying only on police patrol in those hotspots, we emphasize the engagement of whole community working together to deter crime and build long-term safety through proactive engagement. Finally, the Ontario mobilization and engagement model, which is applied directly at the neighborhood level there, right? It helps us categorize neighborhoods. It helps us measure progress in those neighborhoods and ensure our strategies are grounded in evidence and equity. So that's why it brings all those different elements or different approaches together. The CSWB approach, for instance, it helps to expand the hotspots policing into prevention, risk intervention, and collaboration, not just patrol and incident response work. So it means that instead of competing approaches, we now have one integrated model with hybrid structures where teams in the middle and the top of the pyramid or cone support both at the strategic system level as well as at the community engagement level or community engagement process in the neighborhoods. Neighborhood engagement in itself is not an add-on. It's the balancing mechanism. It's where trust is built, priorities are aligned, and partners work together, right? So both immediate risks and root causes are addressed through the community engagement process and the supporting system that we have in this model. When services adopt this model, they move from being reactive responders to proactive partners, right? And the spinning top finds its balance, right? And community safety keeps moving forward. So this 5-layer model gives police services a very clear roadmap. Civilian staff, frontline officers, specialized unit leaders, and partners, each of them have a clear role to play in a very dynamic model. But the key is in two things, right? One, the tip of the top, and the flexibility of the structures. The tip might seem too small, but it's the point that keeps everything balanced, stable, and moving. And that's the future of modern policing, which is going beyond patrols and embedding community engagement.